I'm Stevie D. I play guitar.
Yeah, I'm Josh. I'm the singer, Josh Todd The Conflict.
So, great rock and roll has never disappeared from this planet. It's still alive and kicking, but it's disappeared from the charts.
Right?
What would you attribute that to?
Well, times change. You know what I mean? It's always times have changed. It's kind of ebbed and flowed with rock and roll. You know what I mean? Once hip hop came around, and it just did a slow creep to be, you know, like the biggest music form in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But pop music has always been huge. So who knows? There might be something that brings everything back full circle. But you know. But
I see it out there. I mean, I see all these great bands. They're all out there.
We travel and we see rock and roll everywhere we go.
Yeah.
So I don't, you know.
Yeah, everybody's on stage and doing it. It's just a different type of thing, like Stevie was saying. And you know, we're like this ADD generation now, where there's so much information at your fingertips at any given moment. You know, people are getting bombarded by hundreds of things in an hour, you know, so it's like it's really hard to keep people's attention now, you know.
Well, even like the record industry, it's almost mathematical. They're creating beats that are based on what they know by science how will make people dance, you know, like the formulas and
Sure. I mean, and they'll, with algorithms, that's what they spoon feed you in your Facebook feeds and in your Instagram feeds, and so you know.
So for you, as folks that not only have, like I would say in your career, especially with Buckcherry, you saw the high water mark in the entire collapse of the record industry in your career.
Yep.
How did you find footing through all of that?
You know, passion. It all comes back to passion, and like you got to get back to the basics and why you do it in the first place, you know. And
I agree with Josh. Yeah. I think that you can't really like record labels do. They kind of chase scenes and they kind of build their business model after somebody else's success. I think you got to stay true to what you love, and you got to and write for what makes you happy. You know what I mean? You can't really write for anyone else but you and your group.
Well, what's funny is too, being a music journalist, I've also experienced that wrath of the post-record industry, but also like when the economy tanked and all that stuff. But there's almost beyond the passion and the love, the pure love of doing it, there's almost like the stubbornness that keeps you going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like the idea that like hell or high water, this is what I'm going to do, no matter what.
I mean, a few years before Buckcherry, we were doing Josh's. We did a solo project for Josh, and then right after that, we came off the road, and we quickly found that our skills that we've been working on for 20 years prior aren't really transferable into the real world. So really, music is really what we do best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you hear all the time, do what you love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have the most success doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and be happiest doing it.
Well, it's like when you have that conversation with yourself, this is what you want to do in the beginning, that everything else is just either a detail or a bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with Buckcherry, what were some of the lessons that you learned from that experience with that band that you've applied to The Conflict?
Pay more attention to the details, you know, and really stay focused on the same outcome, you know, all four of us, the whole band, because for the last like 3 years, Buckcherry just wasn't united front, you know, and because of it, we weren't having success. We weren't having good success because everybody was separated in mind, you know. So when Stevie and I started this, that was one thing we were adamant about not doing. So we got these two other guys, Sean Winchester and Greg Cash, and we're all very connected, and it's just really translating live, and it's translating, you know, even when we're off stage, which is really important, you know.
Well, I feel like too, just from my perspective as a journalist, that you're trying to, not in a bad way, but you're trying to distance yourself from the Buckcherry thing and do your own thing, because I can only imagine every night when you're on stage doing The Conflict that there's always that one person in the crowd that's yelling out, play Crazy Bitch or play Lit Up. I mean, but you know, it provided a platform, but at the same time, I wouldn't think you want to be defined by that.
You know, I have in-ear monitors and I don't have crowd noise in my in-ears, so I don't even hear anybody, which is great.
I mean, look, Buckcherry gave us the world.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of success, more than most bands see with Buckcherry. So for that, I know both of us are really grateful.
Yeah.
But there came a point when that united front wasn't so united, and we wanted to still, you know, create and be successful, and we have families we need to take care of, and this is the best way we know how, you know, and so bringing that to, you know, it kind of parlaying that into the conflict it's part of the equation, but in order to establish this in its own entity, we do have to create a little separation.
Of course.
You know, some people.
Well, I've been noticing the set list. I mean, it's your set list. That is your set list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and just for the record, listen, BC is in the best place it's been in a long time, and we have been doing shows with the new lineup since February. You know, that's what a lot of people just don't seem to understand. You know, we've been doing a lot of shows. Like the last show we just did was in Mexico with BC, and it's going great. And like Stevie was saying, this was always we always wanted to have two pots, and
of course.
And you know, I kind of based the model kind of on the Slipknot Stone Sour thing at a smaller scale, of course, but like, you know, that's what we were always thinking about too, like something that could live on its own. Stevie and I have known each other years before he was ever in Buckcherry, so he kind of knew my roots, and that I was into, you know, heavier music.
Yeah,
when,
well,
you know,
it's funny that you bring up
and always 4-piece bands.
Well, when you bring up Corey Taylor, he's one that I put in the same boat as you, as one of those people that people might not realize how big of a range you have vocally.
Thank you.
You know,
nice.
In terms of Stone Sour, especially that was. I mean, we knew Corey had those vocals, but when Stone Sour came out, there was one of those things where it's like, holy shit, the guy can actually sing.
Yeah,
it's not just hard rock.
He's super talented.
Very talented.
So, what do you take from that model?
Writes great
I mean,
lyrics.
you have. I mean, what is your range? You got a hell of a vocal range.
I mean, I'm always working on my voice. You know, one thing I like to do is remain teachable. You know, and Stevie's a really great singer too, and so when we work together on songs, it's just awesome, you know, like we have a really good chemistry now, and we've been writing because he didn't get a lot of opportunities to write in Buckcherry, so like it started with this electronic project out on the road with Buckcherry last year called Spray Gun War, Into the Blackness. We made an EP, and we released it on our own through TuneCore, and then there was all this weirdness going on in the BC camp. All I knew is that I wanted to make a great new record, and when we got off the road, I was like, Stevie, I want to make a heavy record, you know, I want it to be reckless and crazy. And then we started writing, and the first song we wrote was Year of the Tiger.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where I feel like no matter what's going on in the BC camp, you're going to keep both of you are going to keep going because this is what you want to do. You know what I mean? This is no matter what. It's like
it's what we love to do. So I don't really see doing anything else. I mean, it's all going to be music, whether it's going to be Buckcherry or Josh Todd The Conflict. I mean, that's just what we do. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well,
the cool thing is that Stevie and I got into Action, and
you don't want to sit around.
While we were in Action doing all this other stuff, the BC business was all getting worked out, you know, and then it became this fun thing again, and we were like, that was fun. You know, we got two guys, you know, Sean's doing double duty on drums, and then we got Kevin Rankin that Stevie and I have known for a long time on guitar, really talented guy. And, you know, Kelly Lemieux had his bout with leukemia last year, and he's back and just amazing health and everything. And it was, we got on stage together, and it was fun again, you know?
Yeah, when you get 5 like-minded guys or 4 like-minded guys, it's the music and the business and your day-to-day seem to flow much easier. When we decided to do The Conflict, so much got done within the span of less than a year. Yeah. Where some things were just dying on the vine in other areas, you know, with another lineup. But this one, we literally wrote 25 plus songs, whittled them down to 10. We found a producer, Eric Kretz, from the Stone Temple Pilots, and Ryan Williams, engineer. We did an album. We got a record deal, and we started touring. I mean, that's a lot of stuff for under 1 year.
Well, I also feel that neither one of you ever wants to just jump on the nostalgia train. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, you know, like that only goes so far. You can like Buckcherry can only tour so. We were touring so much, and that will only get you so much
agreed.
in a year before you're playing.
Well, you don't want to become like a parody of yourself too, you know?
Right,
but.
right. I mean, there's bands like, look, there's Tool, there's Perfect Circle.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's even Pussifer after that.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like there's all these offshoot bands. There's like 6 a.m. and you know for Nikki.
Well.